I remember sitting in a lawn chair with one of my buddies, Johnny V, longtime childhood friend who I'm still very close with. We speak at least once a week, and he listens to my podcast. I love you, buddy. He, I remember sitting in a lawn chair with him, and this is when I was still drinking, and I was drinking some beers at the time, and I just turned to him and I go, I'm going to make $1 million before I'm 30. And he turned to me, he goes, well, how the hell are you going to do that? I said, I don't know, but I'm going to do it. And I'm somehow going to get on Wall Street. I don't know. And I'm not smart enough to take my Series 7 and become a broker. And then, well, sure enough, when you manifest things hard enough, they come true. Welcome to another episode of Kaizen Cast. Small steps, big changes. Everyone knows our motto, but I always like to share it in the beginning because it's Kaizen means continuous growth and improvement, and that's really what we're trying to do here on this podcast, is to help others and continually grow and become a better person, and learn from our mistakes. We also, we talk a lot about addiction because I've had them all. So I like to always share that with everybody because that's truly what we're trying to do here. So this episode today, I'm gonna do this goes out to my buddy Paulie. He's one of my first listeners, and he listens religiously. And he actually said to me, he goes, and he always gives me feedback, and I love it because constructive criticism is what makes you great. And it took me a long time to understand that. And I take that with pride now. Before, I used to constructive criticism with not like-minded people is not constructive criticism. It's backhanded shit. And when you're with like-minded people and people that actually care about you and actually do listen to your show or listen to your podcast or listen to your thoughts, then you do take the time to try to fix things and become a better person and become better at what I'm trying to do here on this podcast. So, Paulie, thank you very much, buddy. He said I should do more of these backyard talks and take a minute to just talk about life. And it's funny. I guess I'm doing this episode more because, well, first of all, it's a beautiful Saturday here, and it's very peaceful right now. I have my dogs out here in the lanai, and I'm resting, but my mind is always racing. But it's one of those things where I've been struggling with the podcast. Not so much struggling because it's not a struggle. Frustrated is a better word for it, and I say that in a way where, because I want things to be perfect. I'm a competitor. This is my addictive, compulsive personality. I want to win, and in this sense, I see all these influencers. I see all these people that are, and because I was never on, social media. And I know why, because it's actually very addicting, and then you get caught up in the wait, I need 1 million followers type of feeling, and I can actually make money off of this, and because, to be completely honest, I've never made $1, and I've spent thousands of dollars doing this. But it's also, again, I have to remember that about life, that everything's not about money. And it's a healing process for me. This is me doing this does heal me mentally, spiritually, physically sometimes, because I consider the brain something that's very special that I never really used. And now I'm using a lot of it and using my brain power a lot. So sometimes healing comes in different forms. And I have to be honest that, over the last couple weeks, I always go and ask my wife. She's my best friend, my partner, and I rely on her to give me honest answers. And I turned to her probably about 10 days ago, and I go, babe, you know what? I don't think I want to do this anymore. She's like, well, what do you mean? I go, I just feel like it's becoming a job. And I don't want it to be a job, because a job you're supposed to get paid in, and I don't get paid, and I'm doing this more for me, but also to help others. And that's really what I have to stay focused on, because I get caught up in the wins and losses, right? I get caught up in, why don't I have, 10,000 followers? Why don't I have, why aren't my Instagram followers going higher than 250? I don't know the reasons why. I mean, I'm not going to pay for that shit. Um, I want people to follow me because they like my message, or they don't like my message and they want to tell me shit that they don't like about me. But that's fine too, because I have come full circle to not really give a shit what people think about me. And now I know I'm grown up, and I used to worry about all that. No matter how much money I had, no matter how many things I had, I always worried about, oh, is that guy gonna, is he gonna be mad or upset, or like, no, fuck, I don't care. Don't care. Because most people don't give a shit. Most people don't care about me. And at the end of the day, that's really, your circle. And I understand the people that are, when you listen to motivational speakers, they don't listen to the outside noise. If you listen to Gary Vee, he's one of the most brilliant guys, and he tells it exactly how it is. And he's like, the outside noise is nonsense. Nobody cares. You put that shit in your own head. And it's funny because my mother used to tell me that since I was little. Don't listen to the outside noise. Don't listen to what people say, because it doesn't matter. Only matters what the small circle in your life that love you to death, that matters. That's it. At the end of the day, that's all that matters, because people are going to come and go in your life just like money comes and goes. But it's the family and the small circle of friends that you have that actually put you in a position to be able to feel like this, how I do today. And it's super important. And I think there's so many people out there, especially with, the way social media is today in our world, that we have a tendency to worry about what everybody else thinks. And it's a terrible way to live. It's so superficial. It's bullshit. But it's the world we live in. It's click, instant gratification, swipes, likes, subscribes, like all these things that, go along with social media. And every influencers, like, pushing their shit. And some of it, God, we can go down this rabbit hole where, some of these people get paid to be influencers, to talk bad about different people, like our president or whatever. Like, it's just incredible that there's people out there that would actually do something like that, but there are. That's because, again, if you think about it simply, if you use money correctly, no barks. No barks. Ethan's got to edit that. If you use money correctly, okay, it says it in the Bible that if you do, money is good, but when you worship it, it's evil. And there's a lot of people out there that worship money, including myself. This is for you, Paulie. Because he said to me, he goes, I really love to find out how, you went broke, then you made all the money back, and then you went broke again. And yeah, that's pretty much been my life. So the reason why is, and I've learned this over the last 4 years, financially, it's been a humbling, very humbling experience. And instead of hating on people, and truthfully, I did nothing wrong. This past administration is what really changed my business. And then everything's cyclical, everything happens for a reason. But if people don't see that, um, because it has changed my life, uh, downsizing my house, um, losing a lot of my net worth, that wasn't anything that I did wrong. My business just shut down. Now I could have pouted and cried about it, and now was I angry at one point? Absolutely. But because I have such a great, strong support system and circle in my life, my wife and I pivoted and we did a few other things, and we were able, and we didn't spend frivolously. Uh, as much as I love to spend money, people know that, and people in my circle, I love to be generous and spend lots of money and do all that stuff. But we really buckled down, and we got through one of the toughest times of my life financially. But Paulie, to your question, yeah, when I was 19, let's go back to even when I was in college. When I graduated college, and then I went on to play a couple years independent league ball in upstate New York. When I got done playing, I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. And I knew I just wanted to make lots of money. And that's the part of, and this ties into the worship part, okay? This ties into the worship part of baseball too. It ties into the fact that I worship baseball so much that I ate, drank, and slept every at bat and every play in my head over and over again, that it was life or death. You can never worship something like that. The only thing you worship is God. And if you don't, that's fine too, whatever else you worship. But, higher powers. But at the end of the day, you can't worship money. You can't worship materialistic things, because when you do, you're just going down an evil path. And you can't worship your job. You can't worship sports. You can love them, but you have to have balance. And that's something that I learned over the last 4 years too. But so in 1998, I walked in. I remember sitting in a lawn chair with one of my buddies, Johnny V, longtime childhood friend who I'm still very close with. We speak at least once a week, and he listens to my podcast. I love you, buddy. I remember sitting in a lawn chair with him, and this is when I was still drinking, and I was drinking some beers at the time, and I just turned to him and I go, I'm going to make $1 million before I'm 30. And he turned to me, he goes, well, how the hell are you going to do that? I said, I don't know, but I'm going to do it. And I'm somehow going to get on Wall Street. I don't know. And I'm not smart enough to take my Series 7 and become a broker. And then, well, sure enough, when you manifest things hard enough, they come true. I walked into a family office hedge fund slash, just a small hedge fund that I'm still partners with today. And it's incredible because it's 25 years. But I walked into two things. I walked into that business. I'm a great relationships guy. I love talking to people. I built a really big business really quickly. It was like the perfect storm. And I walked into the internet days, and I was trading, which I still do today. I trade IPOs, initial public offerings, companies going public. I'm in a small niche business, and I'm on the retail side, not the institutional side. So there's two sides to this business. Institutional sides are guys that are trading hundreds of millions of dollars, a month. Billions. They have billions of dollars under management, and we're more on the retail side, smaller, $50 million or less. And I just remember it was a perfect storm because I walked into the internet days. Anything that had .com on it, the deals were opening up 50, 100, 150 points. It was incredible. And I was 28, I was 27 at the time when this happened. And I was angry, but happy as you know what. a pig in shit, I guess you want to say, because that's what I was doing. I was eating myself to death too. I was so happy. I was drinking and eating like I told my dad, I'm gonna eat and drink like a Viking, and make tons of money. So I literally walked into those internet days in 99, 2000, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I just knew that I was racking up dollars because, building relationships with brokers, and, guys love being around me, playing golf, going out, dinners, doing all the stuff that you do as a client slash dealing with these brokers. Um, I'm a guy's guy. So I'm easy to get along with. Love sports, loved to party at the time, and had some great stories. So, and had a lot of connections into fun places. So guys love to hang out with me. And at the end of the day, I made that $1 million. Um, Not realizing, back then, you got to give. And now what I know about life and about real estate and LLCs, so that's like probably for another whole episode. But knowing that of that $1 million, 44% of it had to go back to the government, which is incredible. So you think about it, you make $1 million, and then half the year you work for yourself and half the year you work for the government. That's gross. It should never be like that. Because I'm good at what I do in my job, I have to pay more taxes than the other person. I just don't agree with that. People may not agree with me. That's fine. I don't really care. But so after making $1 million and buying 2 new cars and a house and then in '01, that .com days, the bubbles burst, bubble IPO market went into the shitter, and I was broke, and I owed $300,000, and got kicked out of my office for something that wasn't. It was truthful. They said that I stole money. I didn't really steal money. I overspent. I wasn't trying to hurt somebody, to steal money from somebody. I was buying stocks, and all my stock, they just, everything just went to zero. I over leveraged myself. I wasn't doing it intentionally. And most people that do try to steal, like the guy who tried to steal from me, he didn't do it intentionally. I know that. But when this happens, at some point you got to pay the piper. And they kicked me out of the office. And then I went to work at FedEx in the middle of the night because I had my 2 kids at the time. Ty wasn't even born at then. I went and worked at FedEx in the middle of the night to get benefits, because you could work at FedEx in part-time and get benefits for your family, because I had no benefits. And I owed $300,000. So then fast forward 12 months later, I got asked to come back into the office, and I had to start my business all over again. And that's what I did. And I built up a really good business again. And did very well for a very, very long time, until just recently. And by no means am I broke, but do I owe money to people? Absolutely. Again, it sucks. But this time that's coming, I got it. Yeah. So you got to understand my anger and frustration with the way people think, and saying it's okay that what the past administration has done. Yeah, it's okay if you have a 9 to 5 job and you got a paycheck. I don't get paychecks. And my life completely changed. But what also changed in my life, so that was financially, but what also changed in my life is I brought God back into my life. My wife came into my life at the right time, because, like I've always told you guys, that I shouldn't be here. Spiritually, God came back into my life. We go to church almost every Sunday. We love the Christian church that we belong to. Pastor Phil is amazing, and the guy speaks from the heart. And he's a dad. He's got, I know his kids, I know his wife. They're a great family, and he truly, truly, you know what I love about him, because he has no problem showing his emotions in front of 400 or 500 people or 300, whatever, whoever's at service that Sunday at 11. Sometimes he cries. He tells a lot of great jokes too. I mean, and he also really believes in God, which is amazing. And he's doing amazing things there. And he showed me a path too that's truly incredible. So it's funny, once I started taking the evil part out of my life and getting around like-minded people, understanding that my timeline is not God's timeline. Everybody's got to understand that. Everybody's got to understand that, like, what we do and how we do things, we want them done yesterday, especially somebody like myself. Like, I think back and I'm like, man, these past 4.5 years were truly, truly amazing. But also very, very difficult. But I got through, and I'm going to come out the other way. I'm going to come out the other side, bigger, better, and stronger. It's amazing how far I've come mentally, physically. I'm in the best shape of my life. Listen, that has a lot to do with my wife too. I mean, she's a complete freak when it comes to information, and just constantly on top of my ass about protein, about creatine, about every possible thing you could think about, supplements, all stuff I never thought of after I got done playing baseball. Even when I was playing baseball, I never thought of it. You're young, dumb, and stupid, and all you think about is hitting a baseball and making plays. And I didn't think about my sleep. I didn't think about my nutrition. I didn't think about anything. I was drinking too much. Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to get off kilter here, and I want to stay on the path. And this, so let's lead back to the wealth part of it, right? So we're on our way back, Paulie. But it's been a long journey, and I was, again, there was a part of me that was very angry for a bit of time, and now I'm not angry. I actually feel bad for some people,